Hello everyone, I'm back with another Reddit Addicts episode. If you find my videos entertaining, please kindly subscribe and like them. Thanks to everyone for your suggestions and kind notes. Now, let's get started with today's exciting stories.
I found out my wife was cheating on me, and she will never know. I, 26M, found out my wife, 26F, has been sleeping with a colleague of hers for a while now, and I've decided I'm going to do nothing about it. To fill in some background for my decision, my wife and I have 2 children, a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old baby. I adore them. Every day when I come back from work, my 3-year-old gives me a huge smile and shouts in happiness. It's the best part of my day when I return from work. My wife also works, so we both make efforts to spend time with them whenever we can, which did lead to some issues and arguments. We went to counseling and discovered better methods, and I really thought we were doing well. I even managed to get some of my hours shortened to spend more time with them. It turns out we weren't. I noticed a pair of shoes and a jacket I've never seen before. I asked her about it and she brushed it off that it could have been the babysitter's and that she will return them. 2 days after, I got home early to surprise my wife and go to the park with the kids and noticed my wife and her colleague, I've seen him before at her work, kissing outside the house, and he was wearing the same attire I saw. This pretty much confirmed it, and I ended up staying at a hotel for 2 days to cool off from the shock and dread of it all, and told my wife it was an urgent business trip. Now, I decided I'm going to do nothing for 2 reasons, and they are pretty much connected. I came from a family that was plagued with infidelity and broken into shreds. My father cheated on my mother when I was in high school, and it was the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. I watched 2 people I loved and knew so well fall into depression. My father became an alcoholic and disappeared from our lives 4 months after, and I have no idea where he is to this day. My mother became emotionally traumatized, and during her last couple of months she did begin to improve until she passed away from COVID. In high school I spiraled and fell into heavy depression and drug abuse. Before college, my wife, who was my GF at the time, helped me get clean, and she knows about all this, which makes it all the more painful. The point is, the family I grew up with, made memories with, and spent all this time with was shattered because my dad cheated. I would have loved that they would grow old together and I'd let them play with their grandchildren. Is gone because of infidelity. The second is connected because I don't want my children to see a split. I know it won't end pretty even if I wanted it to. They are so happy, and despite her being unfaithful, she is a good mother to them. They adore us together, and I don't want to rob them of a family and all the fucked up shit that comes up with divorce and infidelity. And honestly, there's a third. I'm terrified of being alone as well. I have no one, all family gone. She would be gone. We could get shared custody, but it still makes it all the more terrifying. And maybe I could confront her and work it out, but I just know she will break and it will never be the same as how things are now. So it's been a week and a half. I just put my children to sleep a bit ago, and my wife is already in bed as I'm typing this, and I've already decided she will never know I know. Unless she tells me, then I'll need to decide what to do if that happens. I will stop this if it starts affecting the children in any way as well. But to answer some of the questions, yes, I am in complete pain. I am trying my best not to hate her, but holy fuck, it's hard. I don't think I can sleep beside this person without my eyes darting around the room for 2 hours from thinking before I sleep from intense dizziness. But I'm going to do it, and maybe it'll hurt less as time goes on, and yes, my therapist already knows, and yes, they are very against the idea, but I told them to try to work with it. I'm doing this for my children's future, for my own as well. Comment 1. My father tried doing this for 4 years when he discovered my mom had an affair. My mother had a daughter with her affair partner, and even after bringing him around the family, my dad went along with her charade, mainly driven by religious nonsense. It blew up spectacularly when I was around 6 years old, and figuring out what was happening, the fallout destroyed my family. My advice: discuss this with her, because it will eventually come to a head. 99% of the time, it does. Even discussing this with my therapist, she has not run into a situation with a single one of her clients where they were cheating and the affair wasn't brought to light in some way. You are not doing your children a favor based on my experience. You are only delaying an inevitable explosion of emotions and ripping apart of a family unit. It's still one of my dad's biggest regrets, as after that, we were split into factions, all vying attention and affection from each side, and never getting it from them. My parents battled it out like it was a fucking sport and we were collateral. He wished that he'd just confronted her and ended it, moving away and gradually work on getting custody of us one by one, which is exactly what happened anyways, just after the death of two of my brothers, one of them a direct result of the overwhelming stress from this bullshit. Comment 2. Your reasoning is unhealthy and based entirely on fear of what the future holds. I know that fear well, though my reasons for it are vastly different. This all sounds pretty fresh for you. Reevaluate in a month or two. Because living a lie is not sustainable, secretly hating someone is not sustainable. My father cheated on my mom when I was 11, they kept it a secret. Mom took a lot of it out on me. I spent the next 3 years thinking she went bonkers because of her mood changes. Eventually she evened out emotionally and we became close again. My parents still acted all lovey-dovey and had date nights. Then she told me she was leaving Dad and finally told me what happened. I was 25 at the time, and since they seemed so much in love I was surprised and shattered. Built up this image of a happy family in my head. Especially of my dad who was my hero. That messed me right up. Still does. I don't drink or do drugs. But it sure did mess me up in other ways. Infidelity is messy for the family involved, as you are well aware. But honestly, I wish my parents had divorced back then. Comment 3. OP as a married man of 10 years, who's been married before to a cheater. Please just sit her down calmly. Tell her that you know she's cheating, that it's breaking your heart, that you don't know what to do to improve your marriage, but you can't trust her anymore and it makes sleeping next to her so hard. It makes coming home to her knowing that some other dude is with her so hard. You don't want to be alone, but you also don't want the kids to go through what you went through. Just be upfront, honest and put your heart on the table. Whatever comes from this, is what it is. But at least you did it. Also, don't react with fighting or yelling, just talk to her, let her vent. She had a reason for doing this, and you should hear her out. I would usually give totally different advice to men, but you seem to have some depression and trauma around being alone to the point where you'd rather suffer every day and not go through with a divorce. Which most men would have been out of their car, the second they saw it. And put her in her place. So you just need to be more delicate and see where you can take this on a lighter note. But let me be frank, if you decide to stay with her, you will never be able to trust her again, you will always wonder about things that don't add up. Or if she'll take the bank and run with the kids. With a new man. It's tough, and something I wouldn't put up with. I would 1000x rather be alone, than deal with that heart-raking stress every night.
We hope you enjoyed this story. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next video. And before you go, please be sure to subscribe for more.